What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Lockdown 23-1. And today we are going to be entering into the Ohio State Penitentiary. It's making national news where one inmate stabbed 4 other inmates that were cuffed to a table. And this stuff goes a lot deeper than you might think, all right? But check it out. Before we get into that, I want to say something very important to a fellow YouTuber that me and him have not seen eye to eye in the past, but we have squashed our differences. We even made a video together, okay, for Thanksgiving. Old Joe Guerrero from After Prison Show. Yesterday, I started my stream on Twitch, and I had a few people, I guess, that watch Joe's content come to me and say, hey, it's devastating what happened to old Joe. And, I don't sit there and clock his channel, so I don't know exactly what's going on as soon as it happens. But someone told me, said, Joe was trying to have a child. I knew that already, but he got the bad news that, it wasn't successful, okay? The baby lost his life. So I just want to give you my condolences, Joe, and tell you a little something, okay? Because I watched the video. I went and watched that whole video, and I just want to give you my input on this whole thing. There was something that you said in the video. You were sitting there and expressing your thoughts to your viewers, and you said something about God. You said you prayed to him to make sure everything went good, and obviously it didn't, and now you don't believe in any of that stuff. You said all of it's bullshit. Okay, well, let me break something down to you, all right? I don't know what God you believe in, but what I love about the Bible, okay, I know a lot of people do not like the Bible, but I'm going to speak my freaking mind, okay? The Bible has stories and situations that could touch anyone to this day. One of my favorite books is the book of Job. Okay, the book of Job is very important, okay, because this man was blessed. This man named Job was blessed, and he had everything he could possibly imagine. He still worshiped his God, but to make this story short, Satan, he spoke to God. He said, hey, you've given this man everything. You've given him everything, crops, a huge family, everything. Of course he's going to worship you. Take everything away from him and see what he does after that. God allowed certain events to happen to where Job, his whole family, was wiped out. Okay, his kids were wiped out. The tent fell on them. They all died. And Satan was waiting there patiently for Job to curse God, but he never did. He was angry. He talked to his Lord above, just like he would talk to anyone else, his best friend or anything. And he was angry with him. And he never gave up on his God. And sooner or later, he was blessed double of what he had. Double the livestock, double the children, double the wealth. So please, man, do not give up. If you need a little piece of wisdom or something to uplift your spirit, go read the book of Job. It's an amazing story, especially for people that lose loved ones. People might think that stuff like this happens because it's God's will. It's not. I'm not going to go into depth on my religious beliefs with my God, but it is not his will for people to lose their lives. Okay, it's not. That's not what he wants. He put us on this earth to live forever. Okay, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to go into the depth and theological viewpoint of all this, but just remember that this type of stuff happens every day. Don't give up, man. You know what I mean? Keep your head up, keep pushing. You'll have that kid sooner or later. You'll have that little baby Joe sooner or later, bro. But anyways, let's move on to the state penitentiary in Ohio, man. This is some crazy freaking stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I'm going to show you all a couple pictures. Okay, it's 2 different inmates in the state of Ohio. The first one is going to be the individual that stabbed the 4 guys that were handcuffed to the table. That man's name is GRIZZY. Hopefully I'm pronouncing it correctly. But I also want to show you another inmate, okay? This guy actually got caught up in the mix with Rinky back in the past. And it's crazy how all this stuff unfolds, their violent history. But check it out. That guy's name is Casey Pidge. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. I don't know. But these dudes have been some very violent individuals in the Ohio State Penitentiary. I'm going to go down their timeline, all right? Let's start off with the very first time that these 2 individuals got together and committed a heinous crime. 3-time killer Casey Pidge and 2nd prisoner Greg Rinky indicted on multiple felony charges last week related to an attack that severely injured a state prison guard. Pidge and Rinky are each facing attempted aggravated murder, felonious assault, kidnapping, and other charges for the February 20th brutal attack on correctional officer Matt Mathias. But obviously this is an old article. It's not February yet, but check it out. He's still recovering. It's going to be a super long haul for him, said Sally McLean, a spokeswoman for the Ohio Civil Service Employees Association, the union that represents the guards. Mathias suffered 32 stab wounds. Rinky, 38, and Pidge, 30, are now both being held at the Ohio State Penitentiary, a supermax security facility near Youngstown. September 2008, Pidge killed his ex-girlfriend's mother, Rhonda Summers, and set her home on fire. 14 months later, he pled guilty and received a sentence of 30 years to life in prison. February 2016, this is 8 years later, he beat to death Luther Wade of Springfield while the two were housed together at Lebanon Correctional Institution. After the murder, officials found a hole in the wall between two high-security cells so large that Pidge could shimmy through it so he could play cards with the prisoners next door. And keep in mind, this is a segregation block, okay? I read that this is a segregation block, and he beat the guy to death, Luther Wade, with a brick from the hole in the wall, okay? These dudes were freaking breaking holes in the walls just to play cards with each other in segregation. You know what I mean? I can only imagine why he chose to beat that guy to death with the brick. Now keep in mind, this man is not the guy that stabbed the 4 individuals handcuffed to the table, but the reason why I'm speaking upon it is because back in the day, they got together and stabbed that correctional officer 32 times. These dudes ran together in the past, but check it out. This is the same individual, Pidge. February 2017, okay, this is just a year later. While on a prison bus after pleading guilty to the Wade murder, Pidge slipped off his belly chain and used it to strangle to death inmate David Johnson, a 61-year-old sex offender. Guards on the bus maintained that they didn't hear what was happening. On September 27th, he was sentenced to 25 years to life. He's already facing life. He don't give a damn. You know what I mean? He don't care. He don't care. That's the thing about inmates that have life. They don't care. They don't care. They have nothing to lose. You know what they're going to get out of stabbing another person to death? They're going to get some nice little court rides to the courthouse, and it's going to kill their time. They're going to be going in and out of the courtroom, saying hello to all the women around in the courtroom, the typewriter, the judge. That gives them something to do. And not only that, it builds a reputation of them in the penitentiary. But just a year later, and this is funny, it says that the guards didn't hear what was going on the bus. I mean, look, I've been on a bus shackled with chains around my stomach and my feet. When chains get the jingling, they can hear it. I remember we were getting a little commotion on the bus one time when they were transferring us, and we had the chains, shaking around. They look back all the time. There's supposed to be a correctional officer driving, and a correctional officer just sitting there, and he can look sideways and look in the back. They might not have heard it, but how the hell did they, how did this guy slip out of his freaking waistband chain? I don't understand that. There was no way in hell I could have done it. These guys obviously didn't put it on properly, or maybe it was all set up. Who knows? Now, let's fast forward 1 year later. This is about the inmate that stabbed the 4 individuals handcuffed to the table. February 2018, Rinky was in prison for a 2004 fatal shooting in Cleveland. In a different attack on the inmates last year, he slipped out of handcuffs and stabbed 4 inmates who were handcuffed to the table, according to prison reports. The Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Correction commissioned a review. The consultant concluded that it's probable that the staff complacency significantly contributed to the incident. Okay, so meaning if the white, let's break this down, okay? This is about the stabbings that just happened with the 4 inmates that were handcuffed to the table. The white dude was on another table. I guess he was handcuffed. They said that he slipped his cuff, okay? Which is, a lot of people think that it might be set up, okay? It's weird. When an inmate has life, okay, typically, and they're in segregation and stuff like this guy, they strip you down, okay? And they look your whole body, make sure you don't have a weapon before they take you out to wreck or anything like that. Okay, either he had this thing stashed in his old, coin purse in his butt or something. The first mistake that the correctional officers had, they didn't search him properly. Second, they put the cuffs on either too loose on accident or on purpose. I know every time that I got handcuffed, there was no way I was going to be able to freaking slip those cuffs. Never. And I got small hands, man. I could never slip those cuffs. So that's the number one reason why all this happened. Either the guy put the cuffs on way too loose on purpose or on accident. Now, I think it might have been on accident. And I'm going to explain why. Because the 4 men, okay, keep in mind, 4 black men were handcuffed to the table as well. And when Rinky slipped his cuff, he went and stabbed these 4 individuals. And I'm going to leave the link to the video pinned in the comment section below and in the description of the video as well for y'all to watch. It's absolutely crazy, man. The reason why I think it's an accident is because not only did the white dude slip his cuff, but as the whole thing was going on, okay, the stabbings, when the black dude slipped his cuff, okay, I don't know if he broke his hand pulling it out because he was just thought he was going to lose his life or whatever the case is, but he slipped his cuff as well. And they cut the video after the black dude gets a hold of the white guy, Rinky, that stabbed everyone. They cut the video right there. I'm sure that dude beat the hell out of Rinky. You know what I mean? I can almost guarantee the reason why they cut that film is because it shows the black dude beating the freaking brakes off that dude. You can see for a split second he grabs him and freaking dish rags him on the ground. You know what I mean? Without them guys being cuffed, without that dude having a freaking knife, he wouldn't have had no freaking chance. You know what I mean? Homeboy's a freaking coward. Who's gonna stab someone, 4 dudes that are cuffed to a table? Man, that's pure coward stuff. You know what I mean? You don't get no respect for that. You might put a little fear in people's hearts, but for the most part, inmates is gonna hate you. You know what I mean? That's just like, you know, getting in a fight and instead of squaring off with them one-on-one, you're either gonna jump him or you're gonna punch him in the back of the head when he's not even looking. You know, no, even though you might win the fight and put a little fear in people's hearts, you're not gonna get no respect for that, man. But you know, a lot of people think that this whole thing was set up. You know, the correctional officers had something to do with it. And you know, it very well could have been. You know, but at the same time, I think it was just an accident. The correctional officer didn't want to hurt the guy's wrists and put it on too tight. Because not only did the white dude, Rinky, slip out the freaking cuff, but the other guy, the black guy, slipped out as well. Who knows, man? I think, in my honest opinion, I think it was just a big accident. Because the correctional officer didn't know how to freaking properly cuff an individual, you know? But who knows? Who knows? But yeah, this is not going to be a long video. I just want to stress the point here that when people have a life sentence, they have nothing to lose, especially people that have are in states that don't have no death penalty. You know what I mean? Ohio does, but they've been having a lot of problems executing individuals. You know, people have went in there and they couldn't find the vein or some good vein in order to do the lethal injection, so they had to abort numerous times. And I'm sure Ohio's having a lot of problems with paperwork-wise with the death penalty and stuff like that, but they did crank back up the death penalty in 2017, I believe. So who knows, these guys that are committing these crazy crimes, they might be just trying to die. You know, they're trying to get killed by the state, or they just don't care. You know, people with the life sentence, I said it a million times, they have nothing to lose. Anything when it involves leaving the prison, like them going to the courtroom, that's something so fun to them. You know, when you're locked up in a cage 23 hours a day, sometimes 24, just getting out and leaving the prison and seeing the streets and streetcars again, you know, to some inmates, that's worth killing an individual just to see the free world one more time. And you know, now that all these prison channels are popping up on YouTube, man, you're really seeing prison for what it's worth. You know, there ain't really no speculations anymore. Oh, that stuff don't happen no more. It doesn't happen, man. Prison's sweet now. It ain't sweet. Ain't nothing sweet about prison unless you're in a freaking road camp. And even then, people get into the mix. You know what I mean? People are losing their life all the time in the state penitentiary, man. Shanks are real. They're all over prisons. And when people are cornered, what do you think's going to happen? Man, people are going to be stabbing people left and right. When you got individuals that have a life sentence and correctional officers keep nagging on them, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to stab them 32 times like these 2 individuals did. And let this be a rude awakening to correctional officers, man. You know, you never know. You never know what could happen to you, man. So always try to respect everyone for what it's worth. You know, and it doesn't even come down to respect sometimes, you know. Correctional officers get stabbed all the time, and they're completely respectful to these inmates, might even help them and talk to them on a regular basis. You just might be that unlucky individual that's around that inmate on that day. So let this be a rude awakening to correctional officers and, people that are out there in the streets committing crimes. You might think it's going to be easy check going in there, working as a CO and pressing buttons. It's going to be easy. You might think that, hey, I'm going to commit this crime and I'm going to go to prison. I'm going to eat freaking honey buns like my homeboy did. You never know where they're going to place you. You never know what kind of inmates are going to be around you. You never know what kind of jealousy or hate that individual might be going through. And your life might be the next one to be taken. So always be on guard. I don't care if you're either working in the facility or if you're an inmate, man. Don't trust nobody, especially in these higher level prisons, man. One guy will be your friend one day, next day he'll put 35 holes in your body. Always remember that, man. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please do not forget to hit that like and subscribe button if you did. And go check out the link that I'll have pinned in the comment section below for you to watch this video for yourself. And also, go check out all the links in the description of the video. Add me up on all the social media, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram. I'm gaming all the time on Twitch. The new Resident Evil 2 Remastered is a masterpiece, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely beautiful game. Go check out the link to Teespring and buy yourself some 23-in-1 merch, man. I love this thing. I wear it on a regular basis. Go check out my Patreon. I got all kinds of crazy videos on there. And last but not least, check out my wife's channel, The Compound 24/7, with all the behind the scenes, what goes on in this house, and some delicious cooking recipes. And as always, I salute to every last one of you who've been supporting me since the beginning, and everyone who is just now joining the Lockdown Compound.